Greetings! Welcome to another fine installment of Time to Draw with me, Lenberry. Today I'm going to be drawing a couple of characters from a book I've already released. These two characters are the main protagonists. They are Bridgett and Penelope. Before I say a whole lot about them, I want to talk about illustration. Just illustration. Now, granted, since this is non-photo blue at the moment, I don't know how easy it will be for you to see what I've got here so far. I didn't go very heavy with it, and I thought this would be an interesting point to show off how things can sometimes go wrong. So, if you look here, I've drawn, I wanted to go for Penelope first because she's a much smoother character to draw, flowing blonde hair. I've even got her oversized glasses in here. I've got a nice smile set up for her here. I decided I'd go with kind of a swimsuit sort of scene. And, here's her, bikini swimsuit, abdomen, and the lower abdomen. The torso and lower abdomen. I got the navel right here. All right. You notice I have a few marks down here too. And I was going to draw the main character, Bridgett. Now, I've done a really good job illustrating her. I have. It's a fantastic job illustrating her. Here's her head. I've got her curls. Arms swooped around in a very loving pose. There's just one problem with it. If her head is here, and her head is here, and you don't know anything about these two characters, and you can't see below this point, you think this is a child. And maybe at some point I will illustrate that better. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to redo it to the best of my ability. I'm not destroying this picture because I think it could turn out really well. But I'm taking that out right now. So that is my little note there. Preparation is not one's friend. So, as the saying says, back to the drawing board. Well, here's the drawing board. So, I'm going to do the best I can to reproduce the image. And this happens sometimes. Now, granted, you didn't see much of what was there before. So, I'm going to keep this on hand. This is what I showed you a moment ago. And my biggest disappointment in this is I'm having to redo it. But, how do you get the Carnegie Hall? The saying says, practice. And the nice part is I know where a lot of this already goes. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and just line this up. And I'm going to do my best to indirectly recreate where I had everything on Penelope. Penelope is an interesting character. Of course, that's a nothing statement unless I have something to back it up. Penelope is outgoing. She's pretty. She has a successful mom. I have to be careful with the parental pronouns a little bit because the world she comes from, the rules aren't quite the same. Mom means one thing, mother means something else. See, the world these characters live in is populated 88% female. There's a genetic crash in the history of their world that caused there to be a lot less births under certain circumstances, which led to a few things getting out of proportion. And much like art, you don't want things out of proportion. Nature has ways of correcting itself. Unfortunately, the way nature typically corrects itself on that kind of a scale is through extinction. Well, I doubt humanity wants to be extinct. So what results is a largely female society, lots of genetic controls trying to stabilize things. So society, population, both are very controlled elements. They are essentially artificial at that point. The safer, more proved way the more common way to have kids is through artificial means. Insemination. For this story, I even included some of the notions that were coming up in some Japanese research at the time of taking bone marrow and transforming it into what they call pseudosperm. Basically, you take bone marrow from one person. Gender does not matter in that case, and you can have them father a child. Well, it could be used as the genetic basis at least. So. But Penelope is, assertive. She's not mean about it, but she's like, hey, you can do better. I think you're great. You can do better. Come on, let's do it. Let's be awesome. She's that sort of girl. All right. So the problem, as I illustrated before, since I'm almost back to it again. Yeah, non-photable. I can fix it later. Okay. So looking at the original image, I've got. All right. Here's Penelope's head, and here's her bust, and here's Bridget's head. Except Bridget is shorter than Penelope. My thought was that she would be on her knees kind of doing that, but I didn't show you the bottom half, so it looks wrong. So I'm going to take, with this new image, I'm going to take Bridget's head and put it about here, making her look much closer in size proportion. Which means I'm going to lighten this up right now. I like what I did, it's just I did it in the wrong place. So, we fix it. Because, as you might have guessed, Bridget and Penelope are girlfriends. And I don't mean that as they're like, I have to go talk to my girlfriends. No, they're romantic couple girlfriends. Because In a world that's 88% female, why would most people be straight? Why would most people be heterosexual? The answer is they wouldn't. I wanted to get Bridget's eyes to be kind of big here. And I think that's one of the reasons why my original drawing was a little childlike, because her eyes were big. And maybe too big at that. But now that's kind of corrected, so. Okay, that. So this is still out of proportion. But, as I've discussed before on here, non-photo blue is about finding where things go, not finding where things stay. Stuff here. Now, unlike Penelope, Bridgett has naturally curlier hair. She's brunette, so it's much darker. Sorry, still isn't quite right. So, if anything else, this video will be in a lesson in dealing with mistakes. Get the hair okay back there, but heads are typically a size measurement in many people's art. I don't use it a lot, but others do. Alright, so that means that has to all change. It's alright. Non-photo blue. Non-photo blue to the rescue. That's going to be eye. That's going to be nose. That's going to be mouth. Alright, there's a difference right there. Good. Let's get some cheekbones. Yeah. Good. Use this to cover up a little about what's going on. Yeah, well, you know what? We'll keep. Nah, I don't like that being out of cheek. It seems too disheveled. So. Okay. Like I said before, I want to keep her eyes on the large side, just so she seems more youthful and open. Okay. They are, well, Bridgett is a freshman or entry-level college student. It's her age. Upper teens. Penelope is a year, 18 months older. Alright. Yes, so far I've got a real grandma look on this one. Let's lessen the lines. fewer means youth, more means age. That's the typical accepted notion. Doesn't have to be, but it happens that way a lot. I've seen some artists, some very good artists, struggle with that. That very notion. Okay, we're going to have her. Yeah, I'm going to keep the same pose. So her shoulder will be here, and this shoulder will be here. I'll make some interesting interactions in just a second here. Yep. All right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'll be all right. I went with a beach scene because the earliest scenes between the two of them, end of chapter 1 of Vitamin F takes place on a beach where they first kind of really get to know each other. Bridget's a little more self-conscious. So all right. So I'm going to see what I can do here to make Bridget's curls have a little bit more vibrancy. Even though I am just mapping things out, you want things to be mapped out in a way that you can make use of. Okay. All right. That was there, and this was here. Okay. All right. Okay. Put first attempt aside. Alright. So we're 20 minutes in, and I've redone a lot of the illustration. Okay. Let's imply a little more here. One of the other odd elements, or it's not really odd, it's different compared to a lot of characters, is that Bridget is not well endowed. She is not curvy. She does not have an hourglass figure. She her shape is simple, almost childlike, though not child. All right. Come back to this in a second. Let's get the parts we know will work. The bathing suit choice here is even fitting with their characters. Again, Bridgett is very reserved, so I'm making the conscious decision for her to have a one-piece bathing suit, even though it may be somewhat stylized. It's still very fit. It still fits with her reserved nature. Let's do that. Great. All right. Let's see here. Let's get a little closer. Penelope, I wanted to go for a lot of what was this, a lot of stylish sorts of things. And when I was writing the story, there was a big surge of models and actresses and famous pretty ladies of all sorts wearing oversized glasses, oversized sunglasses. So I just gave that to Penelope as something that she had as a just as part of what she had. Those lines there are to indicate glare. In fact, I'm going to go this other F pencil. If you've seen some of my recent videos, you'll be familiar with this pencil. It's just another same type of pencil that I'm using today, both F. This is an older one that I'm just using to do kind of bulk work. Alright. Here I'm just using the template of what I've already have on hand. So I made the mouth first. A lot of artists would do the lips first. I did the mouth first. Typically I would do the lips first. There we go. I like that. Right there, I'm just doing a basic. On this one, I'm going to imply Penelope's hair much more than I'm actually going to draw it. And a lot of the reason for that is the idea that this is a beach scene. So, plenty of sunlight. The other reason is because her hair color, she's blonde, actually blonde. And felt it's wiser just to go with a little bit more of a open look of that. Alright, there's that. Go back to the wide view. Alright. Here's where we are. Wander down here. Just fill in these lines. Okay. So her shoulders here. Here, so yeah. Now, I'm not going to pretend this is going to be accurate to the book description on anything. This is just me screwing around and saying, hey, I'll draw those characters. Since I'm down here with Bridgett now, I figure I should tell you a little bit about the main character of my dystopian novel. And wow, that arm is thick. That's better. Okay. So, my main character, Bridgett, she didn't know her parents. They died at a very, very early age. So she's raised by her grandfather. And remember, this is a world that is primarily female, so the fact that she has a grandfather that she knows and was raised by is kind of a shock all to itself. There we go. I don't want to put too many lines there. Bridgett has a genetic deficiency where she has to take a regular pill every day. And that regular pill that leads us to our story. Go. Let's see. Bridget's simply a college student. She's just trying to live her life. And I like her as a protagonist because she's so normal. Her needs and wants are very much a normal person's. She likes music. Um, it's her major, in fact, is music history. She's not so much a musician as much as she likes the history of music. Yeah, that's alright. Now, I don't remember where I got Penelope's name from, but Bridgett, I got her first name from Greg Rucka's Atticus Kodiak novels. They deal with a personal security agent. Not supposed to call him a bodyguard. The main female character of that particular series is her name is Bridgett Logan. A great detective character. Goes through quite a bit. In the book Shooting at Midnight, Bridgett becomes the main character through the first and the last thirds of the book. There's a reason why, not in the middle. You gotta find a copy. Read it. But I'm a fan of Greg Rucka's work, as illustrated in my Wonder Woman video. And I thought it was kind of a fun thing. Drop in some references. So Bridgett gets to steal Bridgett Logan's first name. Now, her last name kind of went the opposite direction. Now, I'm not sure where Rucka got the name Logan, but as an X-Men fan, my immediate thought was Wolverine. Well, I'm a Cyclops fan, not a Wolverine fan, so that worked better. So because of that, I went with the first family of the X-Men, the Greys and the Summers. Bridgett's name is Grey. Her grandfather's last name is Summers. And if you know your X-Men lore, you can see why that's an important connection. But that's just me playing goofy comic book references. People do that in writing their stories. You know, it's a story they draw, a story that they sing. There are references to all manner of other things. I mean, Power Man 5000. You know, their famous song "When Worlds Collide." It's Crisis on Infinite Earths. So let's see here. That. I was doing this to show that Bridget's one piece is a different color. Alright. Take this for Penelope's top and just put the lightest application possible. So not only does it look like a different color than her body, it also looks like it's a different color from Bridget's outfit. Yeah. Alright, so yeah, a little bit more shading up here. I want to do a little bit more to note the difference in hair color. Alright, let's go ahead and add a little shading here. It's rare for anyone's hair to be monochrome, single color. So I'm doing this to put a few bits of shading in. Alright. I'm trying not to overdo it, but at the same time, I'm trying to make sure that I get just right on here. Well, it's simple, and you know, for having to try a couple of times, put it together, I like where it came up to. Yeah. Alright, I'm looking around here for other places I can fix, add to, but alright, I'm pretty pleased with this. Yeah, so here's a rendition of me trying to draw Bridgett and Penelope from Vitamin F in a happy day rather than a mean dystopian day. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to learn more about the book they're from, I'll include some links below in the description, as well as links to where you can find me in places like Twitter and Facebook. I've got a blog as well. You can find me there as well. And feel free to leave a comment if you like the picture, if you have questions about it, if you want to recommend something to draw in the future. If you've already been watching, please subscribe. You'll get up to date on drawing videos anytime they come up, as well as any gaming videos I may include, or writing description videos, but you'll be sure to see these too. Until then, this has been Time to Draw, and I'm Lynn Berry. Hope you have a wonderful and pleasant day. Happy reading!